We're going to talk about habit, giving up the desires and the habits and the negative desires of this world, giving up the passions and the negative desires, the negative passions, the negative habits, the bad habits that we stick to, love, deal with all the time. This is one habit that I'm talking about. Is the second that I wake up, I will grab my phone and start scrolling for like 30 minutes. It seems like it wouldn't have such a big effect on you on the surface, right? I noticed that the first thing that you do when you wake up, it can be like a sign of action. Islam, look, I'm doing something. When you wake up in the morning, you have a cue of action. Say you wake up in the morning, the first thing that you got to do, make your bed, stretch, meditate, brush your teeth, everything like that. You have goals, you have plans. But if you put aside that goal, if you put aside that principle of action and just lay on your phone in the morning, or when I put aside that principle of action and I just lay on my phone in the morning, right now, okay, after I get up and I go throughout my day and I do whatever this, whatever that, I do these things throughout the day. And every time a principle of action comes up and then my phone is coming up, I want to get on my phone and start scrolling. I start going to my phone because that's how I started my day. Whereas you start your day choosing the better thing to do for you, right? Not what you think you like in the moment, but the better thing to do for you, right? For your success, for your longevity. Because there's no longevity in these momentary things, right? Again, it's something that I said in the last video, but what permanently delights must be permanent. You understand? So when we have these things that we do, when we have these habits that we have and these things that we like to do, it is very important that we choose the righteous thing. We keep ourselves within the bounds of righteousness. We keep our passions and desires within the bounds of righteousness. And the righteous thing to do in that moment, the righteous thing to do is not lay on my phone, right? The righteous thing to do is not to lay on my phone. The righteous thing to do is get up and make my bed. I still make my bed after I lay on my phone for so long. But now you've started on a certain foot. You've started on a certain energy. Whereas if you would have just gotten up and started your day like that, now with that you have a more productive energy throughout the day. A lot of your day depends on how you start it. A lot of the choices that you run for the rest of the day depend on your thoughts and your choices when you first wake up. Islam. So again, that's on the habit side. Now, habits and desires and passions and everything, they all coincide. They all go hand in hand. And your desires and your habits and your passions and all that are gonna base each other off of each other in some kind of way, in some kind of form or fashion, right? So when I look at passions and desires, Islam, we look at passions and desires. We have the passions and desires of this whole world. We have all of these worldly things that we stick to they don't serve us. These worldly things don't serve us. And this is what I'm talking about, because with habit, with desire, with passion, one of the biggest things is understanding the science of sacrifice, right? Understanding what it's like, what it is that we need to decide on when we make that decision on bettering ourselves. Because when you make that decision to better yourself, you're making a sacrifice over here, right? And a lot of the times you have to sacrifice something you love. Really, that's how it is every time. You have to sacrifice something that you love for something that you love more, right? And so, for example, eating habits, eating habits, right? Or because these are two things for me, is money and food. Eating habits, spending habits, right? So I'm sitting here, I'm eating terrible. Every day I got headaches, right? Every day I got stomach aches. Every day I feel bad. Every day I feel sluggish. I wake up, I feel sluggish. I feel bad. I got a headache. I'm tired. I'm exhausted because of the way that I'm eating. And I'm upset about it. It gets you upset. It makes you feel bad. But you know that if you would eat right, you would feel good. You know that if you would eat right, you would feel good. But the problem is we love the bad eating. Or I love the bad eating. I love the wings and the sweets and that. I don't really love ice cream or sweets, all that stuff that much. But the over-salted potato chips and crackers and snacks and over salted and the spice and over like all the sauces and all the egg based and milk based and cheese based and all that stuff, all the bread, all the everything that's bad for your health. Because it's not like individually those things are bad for you. Individually, these ingredients are not bad for you. But it's the fact that I'm eating dishes that are outside of moderation. I'm eating dishes that are excess of a certain thing. It's like a meat lover's pizza. That's just too much. You got meat, cheese, burnt cheese, fried cheese, pepperoni, all of this beef, chicken, everything with fried cheese, right? Cooked cheese, not fried, but in the oven. But you got this cooked hot cheese, unhealthy cheese, processed cheese on this unhealthy bread that's oily, greasy. Islam, our diet, that kind of discipline, keeping yourself, you love yourself better. You love yourself more than you love those things. Every time that we deal with the consequence, we get upset that we did this thing to ourselves. If you end up in the hospital or end up whatever because of the way that you've been eating, you get mad with yourself. Oh, why, I wish I would have changed my eating habits. I wish I would have done this different. Or now that you have to change and change up your eating habits. When you could have just been eating right in the first place, because you know that at the end of the day, you love your life, you love your health. Right? And then the other thing with money, spending habits and everything like that, you don't like being broke. Right? You don't like being broke. You like spending. You like buying things. You like paying for things. You like tipping more. You like spoiling people. You like giving charitably. But if you're doing all that and are not feeding yourself first, being healthy with your money, paying yourself first, putting stuff into your own account, saving up, having savings. Because I'm falling in this rut now, where I spend so much, and then now I'm in a point where I'm being drugged through the mud. I was talking about this in a video before, how when you have these aspirations, you got to see the dark side. And I'm looking at the dark side right now. And you know what? It's not consuming me. Because one thing, the only thing that drives you in this world is God, is Allah. Your Father God, Allah. Allah is the only thing that we can hold on to. Everything else brings misery. That's the reason why I'm not drowning in this darkness. Because I have peace knowing that I can just give Allah my worries. That I can just say, I'm not worried about that. I'm not going to let that destroy me. Right? Because so many of these things, I got to keep my passions and desires within the bounds of righteousness. So when it comes to worldly desires that are out of the bounds of righteousness, I got no business doing that. So if I have those worldly desires, I just have to let it go. Seek first the kingdom of God, and the rest will be added unto you. Everything. This stuff will come to you once you come to Allah. Right? Jesus says in the Bible, he says, in so many words, what is it worth that for a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul? What is it worth for you to have these desires? What is it worth for you to indulge in these desires? What is it worth for you to give your life to the world because you still like milking the desires of the world, and you're putting God off? You continue to put God off. You're milking the desires of the world, and you say, God can wait because I still like doing this. So I don't want to commit to God because I still, what was I doing saying that kind of stuff? God can wait because I still want to indulge. It comes to a point where you can't keep saying God can wait, right? Because what is it worth that you gain the whole world and then lose your soul? You know what I mean? Like I said it before, that God sends us personally. God sends a messenger. God sends prophets, right? And so those are the instructions directly sent from God. So we can do this whole spiritual, not religious thing, right? But you have no direction truly from your Creator. You're just guessing. You don't have the true instructions from your Creator. You're just guessing, right? If you built a phone, or you built a car, or you built anything that made a table that people needed to know how to use, you would give them an instruction manual. You would put an instruction manual in it. You think our Creator would make us here without an instruction manual? That's what we have religion in our prophets. Again, it goes back to that, right? It goes back to that because I'm talking about giving up these desires, giving up these habits. Oh, these my bad habits. I just can't give up these habits. I just can't give up these desires. Yes, you can. You just got to love yourself more. You have to love yourself enough to say, I'm about to sacrifice these things that don't serve you. I get miserable for spending too much money on things that I want. Spending money. I get miserable eating bad food and it makes you feel bad. You get miserable. Where saving money feels good. Having money feels good. Not spending too much feels good. Eating better feels good. Doing the good thing feels good. Going to the gym feels good. Being productive feels good. Because I said in my last video, give your life to God. And I know one of the first things people are going to say is, I can't give up my vices. Yes, you can. Your vices are there because you don't love yourself. If you love yourself a little bit, you can give your whole self to God. But you got to love yourself first. You got to know yourself. But you don't love yourself. I didn't love myself, right? So I kept smoking and drinking and doing all the things that God told me was harmful for me. I kept doing all the stuff out, in excess when God told me I needed moderation. I did all these things. And every time you continue to indulge in it, I know every time I continued to indulge in it, there was emptiness in my heart. There was an emptiness in my heart that I could not describe, that nothing could fulfill but giving my life to Allah, but giving my life to God. And it's the same everywhere with everybody. Because you're going to run into that wall. You're going to do this stuff so long, so much, milk it so much, think that you're enjoying life so much, and you're going to be empty on the inside because you don't have the love of your Creator. And I know that from experience. So, I've been talking long enough. I appreciate everyone coming here and standing by with me watching this. I feel like we got a beautiful angle from the sun. It's like 80 degrees outside, and it's November. And then last week it was just freezing. Doesn't make any sense. This is the southern weather. Peace and love, everybody. Thank you.